I have a problem. If you take 1 second to look around me, I'm sure you can tell I like video games and own just a few of them. But you haven't seen my real shame. No, don't look! Last time I checked, I own over 500 games on my Switch. And yeah, I'm not proud of it. I'll always pick up games when they go on sale for cheap in hopes maybe I can make a video on them, but after a while it's all just kind of gumming up my Switch. Oh wait, that's just peanut butter. I've gotten so many that I don't really know what to do with them. There's a lot I want to talk about, but don't think they'd fill up a video all on their own. So welcome to Speedrun Reviews. Alright, we got a lot of games to get through today, so let's just get right down to it. Here's the rules. We're going to talk about 15 games per video, and after, hang on, 500 divided by 15, 33.333333. You get the idea. After over 33 videos, we will finally have talked about all the games I own. And honestly, all the ones that probably are on the eShop with my lack of impulse control when it comes to buying games. Let's start out with something easy here. Clock Simulator seems like it'll be simple enough. I thought I said simple. For something with such a basic premise, there is a lot to this. The basics of most of the games are just hit the A button every second, and if you're too fast or slow, your arm will shrink. Oh god, not again. Let's go through these games. There's a game of shadows where you just follow along with the shadow. I have no clue what Last Pig Standing or Clock Fight is because my second player was blocking the screen the entire time. Dungeons & Aliens is just hit A for UFOs and Y for aliens, and I have no clue what this has to do with clocks. Fragility of Time is just the shadow game again, but you can only make 5 mistakes. It's Zab Time? Yeah, I hate games like this. It's all fun and games till you're playing on an Xbox controller earlier in the day, and now you got a Pro controller, and this game's giving you the panic attack of your life where you're trying to figure out where the A button moved just so you don't kill this poor innocent pig. The Spirits of Time? Just raise the spirits. So, necromancy? Follow the rhythm, you just do what the clock does. From Dawn to Dusk? You have to make the day last longer, but wouldn't that happen by going slower and not following time? Well, the game for sure doesn't think so. Pig Got the Rhythm? It's just TikTok Hop from Mario Party. A Minute of Perfection? And as you can see, I finished out strong on this one. Jesus, who the hell is that guy? Test your skill, you just get points added on or taken off based on how good you're doing. And lastly, Time to Go Digital, which is basically the same thing you've been doing, but with a digital clock. This game kind of confuses me. I'm not sure who is out there like, we need a game where you play as a clock. People will go crazy for that, but I've played worse. I really didn't find it to be that much fun, and I'll probably never play this again, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who might like this game maybe. Holy shit, is that a clock game? Let's liven things up here a bit with Crazy Zen MiniGolf. Wait, how does Crazy Zen work? Isn't that an oxymoron? I guess maybe they're saying, nah, it's crazy how zen you're gonna be. You're gonna be so relaxed. I doubt that's it though, because there is nothing zen about this soundtrack. That face there says everything on how I feel about this game. I don't want to play this, I couldn't even finish the first hole. It was in this moment I knew I would never be a professional Crazy Zen mini golfer. It's not like it's that big of a deal to me or anything though. This game makes me feel so sick playing it. The camera just snaps around, and if your ball goes up against the wall, good luck making your shot. Well, maybe it was just the first course that was bad. Let's try one more. Okay, my ball is out of bounds now and floating. Okay, now that we're past all that, I'll just line up my shot. I'll line up my shot. Perfect. All right, on to the next hole, and I can't control the strength of my shot anymore. Well, now's a good time to shoot things I'm feeling like, so let's move on to no reload heroes. Starting things out, I'm not a huge fan of this loading screen. To make things worse, they're looking directly at the camera like I'm the one making them feel uncomfortable. So the story here is that they're having a birthday party for their robot, and one of them drops a screw, which turns all the robots evil, so they shoot them? The natural progression to things here. Ah shit, I dropped a screw. I got it. The game is very similar to something like Enter the Gungeon with procedurally generated floors and different guns to play with. My biggest gripe is every time you shoot you get knockback with your gun. So it just makes playing this weird tug-of-war where you're trying to make sure you don't go too far forward or backwards, and it makes it feel like you're fighting the controls more than you are the enemies. With that being said, the game is still fun to play, and you have this very satisfying dash mechanic where it makes it hard to be trapped by enemies. You can play with up to 4 people in co-op too, so I gotta assume that adds way more fun to this game. Unfortunately, I ended up just kinda getting bored with it. It just got too repetitive for me. It felt like I was fighting the same enemies over and over, which is funny because the game boasts 43 different enemy types and 3 bosses that will give me a different experience every time I play, but I only saw like 5 of those enemies. After getting one-shotted though, I really didn't feel like continuing on with the game. Overall though, I don't think the game's bad, and if you play with your friends, I feel like you'll definitely get your money's worth out of this game. Now for something completely not worth your money, Zomb. Now before you see this title screen and think, oh, now this game's gonna be awesome, I do have to warn you, the game was developed by Sebek, the same people who developed Popeye. Yay! As I'm sure you can tell, this game's trying to pull in the Minecraft-Roblox crowd, and there's one thing this game's missing that they have though, fun. Trying to shoot zombies in this game is awful. You can't aim vertically, only horizontally, so trying to line up headshots is miserable with how uneven the ground is. I could not figure out what I was supposed to do in this game. It kept leading me to this flare, but every time I ran up to it, nothing happened. After hitting every button, I kind of just thought the game was broken, till a box hit me in the head. Then I realized you're supposed to be waiting here for these different crates to drop. That's all you do, just run from crate to crate, killing zombies along the way. They do at least give you a few different guns to play with, but the zombies really aren't your true enemy here. Your true enemy is the pop-in. You'll just be running along and then all of a sudden, bam, there's a car right in front of you. It doesn't make the game unplayable, but it can definitely trap you in areas you don't want to be. The zombies don't even really do much when they attack you though. You can take so many hits. It's way too easy to survive in this game. However, what isn't easy is getting lucky that the crates will drop somewhere you can reach them. They put the torch right in the middle of these buildings. Yeah, I stopped playing after that. I did not have the willpower to keep playing zombie Minecraft. Zomb might have taken 20 minutes of my life, but at least I got nothing in return. Let's try something a little bit more wholesome. Let's check out Storm Boy. It's based on a children's book by Colin Thiele, and personally I've never read the book, nor seen the movies that were made about it, but thankfully it's an interactive story, so I shouldn't be missing out on much. Right off the bat, I have to say I feel like they nailed the art aesthetic here. It really does feel like a children's book come to life. So Storm Boy lives with his father, Hideaway Tom, and they have a neighbor, Fingerbone Bill. What is with these names? Could you imagine just showing up to an island and they're like, well, hi there, I'm Hideaway Tom, and that's my boy, Storm Boy. Why don't you come meet my friends? There's Fingerbone Bill, On the Lamb Larry, Friendly Murderer Mike, and of course, Sandfield Sam. You would be out of there so fast. But Storm Boy and his father live on this island where he likes to run around and pretend he's a bird. And this is where the more interactive parts of the story come in. You can either just fly around as a bird or help dig up a big bag full of cockles. No, I'm not going there. That's what they're called. You should be ashamed of yourself for even thinking that. This is a children's story and we should be allowed to dig for a big bag full of cockles without your perverted mind messing it up for everybody. Okay, now that I got thoroughly sidetracked, back to my point. You can either just fly as a bird or dig in the sand, and these are the more interactive parts of the story. So Storm Boy finds 3 baby pelicans and just without any hesitation scoops them up and takes them home. But Hideaway Tom says we have to get rid of the birds though because we can't afford to feed them. And like, I get where he's coming from. When I just fed them, they ignored all the fish on the ground, demanding more. So Storm Boy lets all the birds go, but Mr. Percival sticks around and still follows you everywhere you go. I then was able to draw in the sand and drew a perfect spitting image of Mr. Percival. But let's speed this story along a bit. Mr. Percival saves some people in a sinking ship by flying a rope out to them. He's scaring animals away from hunters so that way they can't shoot them. Till one fateful day in February. Just want to start today by thank you all for coming out. Little Hand Hank, Earmuff Mary, Jello Lovin' Luke, and we all can't forget Mudstained Stew. Mr. Percival was a bird I stole from the nest and forced to love me. Had I not done that, he'd probably be alive today because he wouldn't have been brave enough to fly up to those hunters, but I just have one thing to say. You were my best friend, Mr. Percival. Yeah, that's how the game ends. The bird gets shot, you get to fly as it up to heaven, then you get a sad ending screen of a child saying a bird was his best friend. You know, just a really uplifting story. All things considered though, this isn't a bad interactive story, and I can see kids having a lot of fun with this. Now for something you should worry about if your kid does like, Zoo Dentist. So you have all these lovely patients to choose from, but in order to take them as a client, you have to pay them in teeth. Interesting business strategy. Hi, I was wondering what an estimate for a teeth cleaning would be. I don't know, you tell me. What? How many teeth you want? What? No, I just want my teeth cleaned, dude. I'm out of here. Okay, you just boop his snoot and... What the fuck is that? Mice can't grow mustaches like that. How does he have fur and a mustache? Also, what in alien Jesus' name is that? I want to puke just looking at this. This kid's mouth is so dirty it started its own ecosystem. There's even vines growing out of it. Well, you stab his throat, rip the vines out, and pull this coal out of his mouth and... Ooh, now it's time to pick a new tooth. Who is this game made for? What child wants to look at this? I am so done with this game. Also, he only gave me 60 teeth after doing that, so if I wanted to keep going for some ungodly reason, I'd have to keep playing the same levels over and over. Okay, I'm feeling violent towards animals now, so let's play teddy gangs. And already I can tell we're in for some shit here. The level names are so descriptive too. We have rooftop, rooftop big, dockyard, road, storage, depression. All you do is see how long you can beat the stuffing out of teddy bears, and that's it. You don't get any health refills or goals to work towards, but why would you? Punching teddy bears is its own reward, right? Oh, also, the game's developed by Sebek. How did I have more to talk about with Clock Simulator than this game? Well, maybe I'll have more to talk about with Not Not. This game is a very simple concept, but a lot of fun. You just have to do what the cube says before the timer runs out, and at first it starts out pretty simple, but it gets really tough. It starts adding in not and not not, as well as colors to really try and trip you up, and honestly it's a really great simple puzzle game and definitely worth picking up. Alright, a good game, let's try and keep that trend going. North is an interesting little game. It doesn't have any save points, but it's only an hour long. It's more one of those games I'd call an experience, where you're just kind of along with the game experiencing it, rather than playing it. Starts out with us writing a letter to our sister, telling her how unforgiving the desert is, and yeah man, Anakin Skywalker could have told you that one. You're just left in this starting area with really no clue where to go, but I found this church, so let's see if they can help. We'll come back to the Cult of Sauron later. While leaving the church, I found out I have a job. I'm not really sure what it is, it's out in the sand, but hey, I can feed this thing. So I end up back at my house, and hey, my roommates seem chill at least. This guy's just staring out a window. This guy's just kind of staring at a wall. This one's making out with his hand. After a bit more wandering around, I find my way to the doctor's and... Can I go back to the church, please? Well, let's take the elevator. That should at least get us somewhere. I don't like this town. Honestly, this game is kind of insane, but I really enjoyed it. But trying to describe the rest of the game is kind of hard, and I feel like it's worth checking out if so far it seemed appealing to you. I don't want to spoil the game, but I will say to help it make a bit more sense for anybody who doesn't play the game, the whole game is just a statement on immigration and how crazy the whole process is. I think the game is definitely worth experiencing for yourself though. Now for a game you don't need experiencing, dear God. All I have to say is yes, dear God, this game sucks. The game starts out with a hunter getting so distracted by the deer he's trying to kill that he doesn't see the wolves coming up behind him. He gets attacked and struck by lightning. This guy can't catch a break. But he's brought before the deer god and told that he's inflicted so much pain and suffering upon deer that he now has to endure life as a deer and redeem himself. And so the game begins. How do you redeem yourself? I don't know. You meet the Elder of Agility, and what is with these games and oxymorons? He teaches you to double jump and now you're free to roam around. You have to help people you come across, like a guy who lost his monocle and now he can't see, but a monocle's for one eye. Can he not see out of the other? Why can he not see at all? You meet a ghost who wants you to get him a picture of his family. There's also a pastor who wants you to help him spread the word of God, but buddy, I think God left this place long ago. There's deer gods snatching up people's souls, giant scorpions and ghosts roaming around. I think God long ago left this place. And why is it okay that I'm killing animals now that I'm a deer? Won't the snake god come for me after I die for all the innocent snakes I've killed? This game is insane. You'll just walk into a cave and there's a giant snake or frog you have to fight. There's monkeys chucking their poop at you, but none of this prepared me for the final boss fight. You'll just be running along and then all of a sudden you get scooped up by the giant bird and have to kill it and its helpless babies. You know, the only way to redeem yourself. Killing the innocent. Well, with your final deed done, you're brought back before the deer god and given the choice of being human again or becoming a deer elder. And I think I might have made the wrong choice. Well, maybe being a robot will make me feel better. JettoMero is a giant robot who woke up in space with no clue how he got there or where he came from. So you travel to different planets to unravel the mystery. And I know what you're thinking, how can I be involved with this story? Well, don't worry, because there's a difficulty setting for involved. I don't know what it does though, because I'm a coward and I chose basic. On the planets you explore, you'll find cities that you can destroy, more fuel to fly to other planets, as well as cosmetic items. Some of the planets have giant monsters wandering around on them, and you fight them via QuickTime event to save the planet. After each monster, you get a little puzzle to solve that gives you more backstory on where JettoMero came from. As you progress through the story, you find out that humans made him to protect from an alien invasion, but he ended up destroying a city and he felt so bad that he left in exile. But with this new knowledge, JettoMero decides he has to go back to protect the humans from the monsters that are attacking them. Eventually, you find another robot who's just like you, and after killing him, you find out that the humans made the monsters to protect them from the aliens, and they've actually been protecting them this entire time. After finding a few more copies of yourself, you track them back to this factory that's being run by the aliens who tried invading Earth. The aliens make a bunch of copies of you after they see how destructive you were, and they send all these robots out telling them that they're saving humanity, knowing that they'll on accident destroy it. So with this new knowledge, JettoMero destroys the factory as well as the planet to help protect the humans so that way the aliens can't make any more of him. And with the factory destroyed and the humans saved, the game ends. I did kind of feel bad for JettoMero in this game, like all he really wants to do is protect the humans, but you find out he's just been the bad guy basically the entire time. It's a fun twist though. The gameplay is a little bit too repetitive for my liking though, but it's not a bad game. Now if you want an uplifting story, I'm sorry because it's time to talk about abandoned cats. Cattails is a game I've been wanting to check out for a while. I've heard it's a mix between a cat sim and Stardew Valley, but I don't know, this is just not my thing. The story starts with you being adopted by a family, but as you get older, the mom gets mad at you for playing with the child. I honestly don't get what the reasoning is for you being abandoned, but this mom is not having any of it. You're then found by another cat who just won't shut up, and are taken to a town where you can meet all the different characters. Here's my issue with the game though, it's not like Stardew Valley where you're free to do whatever you want, but you know what those things are that you can do. Here I'm just wandering around, finding food, not really sure what I can do, just hoping I stumble upon something interesting. Eventually you come across rival cat gangs and you have to fight them, but the combat just really isn't any fun. There's also a shrine you find that you can fix up, very similar to the community center in Stardew Valley. And ultimately I think that's my problem with this game. Whenever I'm playing it, I just kind of want to shut it off and play Stardew Valley instead. It's not a bad game, and if you love cats you might like it, but to me the characters were boring, none of the mechanics were fun, and when Durr's on accident drowned, I kind of figured he's lived a good enough life. But it's time to move on to Stunt Kite Party. Oh my god, this menu song is way better than anything else in this game. This is a game where you fly kites, but the controls are so hard to get a handle on. I still don't really know how they work, you just kind of fight against the kite and hope for the best. Now I could have been distracted and missed something in the tutorial because starting the story mode, this is what you're greeted to, and it's kind of hard to read from behind a chair. After winning a match, you dab, and that's enough of that game. Well, let's move on to Hyper Sentinel. Have you ever had a game's menu music just completely overstimulate you? Because that's what this game does. The game is fairly simple, you just fly back and forth shooting enemies and destroying other spaceships. And maybe I'm just getting too old for games like these, but oh my god, there is too much going on here. I honestly can't focus on any of it, so let's just move on to the next game before this one gives me a migraine. Jenny LeClue Detective Vu is honestly the game that surprised me the most out of all these. Sadly, I didn't get a chance to finish it yet, but what I have played of it has been a delight. The story follows an author who writes the Jenny LeClue stories, but is being pushed to make them more adult to grow the audience. He refuses though and writes a new Jenny LeClue story that we get to play through. As you play, the author will narrate different parts of the story, and I honestly really like the idea that the game is just a story that's being freshly created. The gameplay is basically you just running around finding different clues, and then when it comes to solving the mysteries, you have to figure out what clues actually matter and what clues aren't helpful. The game is full of a lot of character, and it's just a very wholesome, funny experience. The downside is, though, apparently the game doesn't have an ending. Again, I didn't get a chance to finish this game yet, so this is only what I've been reading on the internet, but I feel like with a price tag of $25, the game should have some sort of conclusion and wrap up nicely, and shouldn't just be left with a to be continued. If you see the game on sale for cheap though, I think it's definitely worth picking up. I got a lot of laughs out of it and really want to go back and finish this game. Okay, 15 games down, we now have under 500 to go. That is, as long as I don't buy more games. It was 90% off. What was I supposed to do? Not buy it?